We're in the middle of the Maimah Vayishlach Yehoshua, and in the middle of Vayisvav, explaining that the Nefesh Elikis is enclosed within the Nefesh Abamis. So there's a few parts of this dynamic. Through the Machshava Dibra Maisa of Torah mitzvahs, we elevate the Nefesh Elikis. So that's why it's very important to be an Isaac in this Avodah of conquering Yericho, conquering the Nefesh in the Machshava Dibra Maisa of the Nefesh. That we elevate the Nefesh Elikis through this Avodah of Torah mitzvahs, through the service to Hashem. And that's a plus in the garments of the soul that the neshama doesn't have itself. Being put in the body, you have this advantage that the neshama can be lifted up to a connection to Hashem that didn't have before. And that's the fulfilling the will of Hashem. So even though it's only garments, in our mind, in our world, that it's easier to work with actions, words, and thoughts rather than to change the inner personality of the midas of the person that should be attached only to elokus, to godliness, and not to worldly values. And that's how, however, in their source and what they accomplish, the thought, speech, and action are much greater than the neshama itself. So we learn this from how levushim enhance a person's life, garments for clothing. And so you have this in the spiritual terms. Now, since the Nefesh Elikis is enclosed within the Nefesh Abamis, what happens if he doesn't do this? In other words, you've got the Nefesh Elikis enclosed in the Nefesh Abamis, and instead of using out his thought, speech, and action for Torah, he gets involved in worldly matters. He just lives out of the Nefesh Abamis. It's just a life. And so the excitement and the attachment to what he thinks about, what he speaks about, what he does is all worldly things, from physical needs of eating, sleeping, etc., to what does he talk about? Worldly matters. If it's also the food, clothing, politics, sports, worldly things is what he talks about, and then what he thinks about, what's going through his head, what does he focus his mind on? So if it's all things that are flowing out of worldly values and the Nefesh Abamis, then it's not just the Nefesh Elikis stands on the side and watches and might feel bad. The Nefesh Elikis is schlepped into that also. It drags down the Nefesh Elikis into that area of worldliness, which is klippa, the opposite of holiness. And and causes a lot of pain to the Nefesh Elikis as well. Within that, and so that's a mini Golus Shechina. The same way the Shechina is not revealed in the world in the base of Mikdash, the time of Golus, it's trapped in the unholiness that there is in our world. So too, on a microscopic level, the Nefesh Elikis is schlepped into this world of klippa of the Nefesh Abamis and the worldliness. So it's not just, okay, it doesn't matter, so I'm involved in Gashmis. The Nefesh Elikis will get to you soon, and you just stay in your place. No, it's schlepped down also, because we are one person. We are a person with both energies, the energy of Nefesh Elikis and Nefesh Abamis. We're not one day like this, one day like that. There are times when each one becomes revealed. Davening, Nefesh Elikis can come out more and put the Nefesh Abamis a little bit to sleep. But that is a refinement of the Nefesh Abamis. It's not the one's locked in a closet and you bring the other one out. So we're holding around the Aura 29. Since the Nefesh Elikis is enclosed within the Nefesh Abamis, Al Yedei HaYerida b'Nefesh Abamis, through this descent into the Nefesh Abamis, Nasa Yerida Gam b'Nefesh Elikis, also affects a lowering, a Yerida of the Nefesh Elikis. That if he only is involved in the physical things for their own value, Shenevesh Abamis, that the nefesh habamis schleps down the nefesh alikis lower and lower into it, into the worldliness and the klippah. And part of the avodah then is, of the tshuva of a yid, is to reflect on that, and to have rachmanis on his neshama. You say, and realize, I have a nefesh alikis. It's a chelik mamash. It's part of Hashem, and it's put into guf nefesh habamis. Part of my avodah tshuva is to realize that, have rachmanis on the nefesh alikis, and help it get out of this jail, of this being locked up, so it can express itself in nachshava dibra maisa of Torah mitzvahs. That releases it from its being trapped into the nefesh habamis. And that's why the main avodah of a yid today, of our service to Hashem, is in thought, speech, and action of Torah mitzvahs. It's not just okay, you know what, I'll do myself a favor, I'll do Hashem a favor, I'll do some religious acts. It's relevant to the very life of the person. The Torah is kihem chayenu va'er chameinu. The Torah is our life, and so it's the handbook of life for a yid, and so it's vital that he uses his mind out for Torah and speech and his actions, because that's why he's here. Ki kavona b'yeridus and neshama lamata. Why does his neshama come below? Why did Hashem take his neshama from being in Gan Eden, in that world of ruchnis, and plunk it into a body which has all the feelings of self and want to be attached to the gashmis and the worldliness? Is why does it come lamata? He b'chteish al yidei avedasa lamata tisala lamayla yoser b'kimeishu mitzat atzma. That this is that through this avodah it will be elevated higher than it is on its own. As it was before it came down. So the neshama being in Gan Eden feels godliness, is close to Elokus, and has ava and yira, love and fear of Hashem. Is this a beautiful world of ruchnis? Coming into the body, it's like it darkens its expression. So, however, through our Veda of Torah mitzvahs, we consciously decide to control these three garments of the soul. The neshama is elevated, has a unique and stronger connection to Hashem, and this is that's a plus. However, this Maimon, in this point, he doesn't bring out this. Why does it come down? It does get an elevation, but the purpose is to refine the guf and nefesh habamis. In other words, what happens is you've got a two-pronged effect. The main reason is that this spiritualize the body and the nefesh habamis. That has is spiritualized by the neshama being in the body and through the Veda of Torah mitzvahs. Through this process, the neshama has an aliyah. It gets elevated to a level infinitely greater than what it felt before it came down, because it's attached to the Ratzon Hashem. And that's why you imagine that the neshama comes down, doesn't have this opportunity. It's just locked in the nefesh habamis. It's extremely painful for the neshama. So part of the way to realize this and have rachmanis and bring on the neshama and and realize the purpose of why we're here, in order that to affect this effect in the world and for the neshama itself. The aliyah zu, and this aliyah nasa davka al de aveda v'levushim the machshava de bramaisa. And this Aveda is accomplished dafka through the Aveda that we do with Machshava de Bramaisa. And so that's the main work that we have. V'dugmas, the Levushim kipshutam, similar to Levushim in the simple sense. Shal yodam dafka mitoisif yoisi v'tiferes ba'adam al-Levushim kul. It's like same as clothes in the simple sense, that through them they add beauty to the person that's enclosed within them. They elevate the person. And so now when Yeshua sent spies to Yericho, you could come and think, listen, Moshe wanted to send spies to the whole Eretz Yisrael. In Avodas Hashem, it means he wanted to give the gift of lifting every neshama, every yid up, to be like a tzaddik, to be a tzaddik, to have the Av and Yiras Hashem like Moshe was able to have within himself. He wanted to share this with everybody. Hashem said that's not the main Avodah. And so Yeshua sent spies to Yericho. You think, so we're not worthy of having that higher level. He says, no, that's the contrary. The main Avodah is in order to conquer the Nefesh Habamis, to conquer the Yericho part of ourselves through the Avodah of Nachshava Dibra Maisa. And that's why Hashem commanded Yeshua to do that, because that's what's relevant to each person to do. Could you get to a deeper level? There's things that we can work with to change that inner piece of ourselves. But the average person is the Yericho conquering level of that level of Nachshava Dibra Maisa.